Test 1 2 test. Welcome everyone to another episode of Jazzy Talk, episode 16. We are in April. 2 more months left in the Jazzy regular season. And you know what that means. Just a few steps closer to Jazzy finale weekend, which will be emanating from Akihabara Arcade in Westminster, Colorado. And so that turns us to our guest for tonight, a local in the Akihabara FGC scene, Mustaine. And so, what up, Mustaine? Appreciate you
What's
coming
up?
on the show.
Yeah, how you doing?
And so, like, we were talking about the Jazzy finale, and I just want to kind of talk about that right away. You were there.
Oh yeah.
And so, appreciate you supporting, not just as a competitor, but also as a volunteer,
hmm
chipping in on commentary. And so, just wanted to get your thoughts, man. Like, what was that like, the Jazzy finale?
Jazzy. What was so cool about the Jazzy finale is like it reminded me of like when I first started kind of going to tournaments, and it was like a lot of genuine hype and excitement from everybody there. We could really kind of care less about the people on the outside. It was for us, right? And it felt like it was like a tournament for third strike players, for third strike players, by third strike players, for the love of the game, more so than like big having to have like a big spectacle, a big, stages and lights and everything, right? It was, it it made it feel very like pure, like a pure essence of like what makes fighting games so great.
Yeah,
And we were able to just like kind of capture that and bottle it for like a whole weekend.
yeah. So, what were your thoughts on the competition? You just talked about how it felt like a pure third strike uh, tournament, and so uh, just from a competition level wise, just kind of what was that like competing against, like you were saying, players who a lot of these players don't play any other Street Fighter games.
Correct, correct.
Some of them don't even play any other video games. They just play Third Strike. And so, what was it like
Yeah.
competing with those
Meanwhile,
guys?
I've been playing Third Strike for like just about 2 years, right? Going up against like these, beasts of the game. Um, it was. I mean, I got washed a lot, but that's fine and dandy because everyone was just trying to play, right?
Yeah,
Like I think it was Saturday night. I sat down, like there was on a rotation on a cab, and like the two other players that were in the rotation were, I believe it was Exodus and Flannel Jack, right? I didn't know who they were at the time, but I was just like, man, these guys are really good. But we're just on a rotation. I sat and played there with both of them for like an hour, and it's like, there wasn't any other strings attached. Nobody's like, oh, we got a money match to get to play me or whatever. We were just playing Third Strike. We were just playing games. And that's something I feel like is missing from a lot of FGC stuff in like the more modern era. So it's really nice to just be like, yeah, man, this killer just sat down on a cab because he's just trying to play the video game. There's no other ulterior motives, not trying to like, hide tag, trying to money match. He just wants to play Third Strike. And that's kind of what it felt like everybody was trying to do.
obviously, Aki plays a huge part in it, but
Mhm.
this is 2024, and so there aren't a whole lot of places where we can play Third Strike on arcade. And so,
Correct.
how much do you think that played into the type of atmosphere or energy? Like you were saying, like everyone was just super focused on just getting good games
Playing
in,
Third Strike. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that is an interesting point because Aki is my local I go to. Even when we're not playing Third Strike, that's where we do tournaments and things. Um, but so like it's the cabinet is always there and available, right? Or sometimes we have two, sometimes we have one. It really depends on what's going on. And then for Jazzy, obviously every cabinet in the Versus City room was Third Strike. Even on the Nesicas with the Vulixes, we put Third Strike on it just to have more Third Strike. Even though that's like an imperfect version of Third Strike, we didn't care. It was more Third Strike, right? Like
But it ran SF4 pretty well.
it did run for SF. That I mean, hey, there's some people that will complain about that version of SF4. Nessica, whatever.
Oh, I meant on the I meant on the Vulixes.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard complaints about the arcade version of Street Fighter 4 from like people who still play it on like Xbox.
Did you
But
enter
yeah,
the SF4 side of it?
I did not. I'm a giant
Okay.
fraud at SF4.
Okay.
I do dumb Ibuki things,
Yeah.
and people tell me I don't know how to play the game. So
So
yeah, I'm a giant
yeah,
fraud at SF4. I wasn't gonna play that. I haven't practiced it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I commentated ST part
mhm,
of it, right? I don't even play that anymore. Like I played ST like when I was more of a beginner in fighting games overall, but
uh-huh.
like as kind of time went on, I guess I drifted away from playing ST and I ended up playing more Third Strike.
Mhm.
It's kind
Yeah.
of weird because I actually used to hate Third Strike.
Oh, well, let's talk about that. Let's
Yeah,
talk a
yeah,
little bit
yeah,
about,
yeah, yeah.
you
So
know,
when I was a much less proficient player, a much newer player, still in my learning times as a beginner,
so how long
um,
ago was this? Like 5 years, 4 years,
6 years ago.
6 years? Okay. All right.
So I played Ibuki in Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 was like the first Street Fighter I played, like for realsies and entered tournaments and things for. And I started playing Street Fighter 4. I would say like 2012. The 2012 version was about that time. I was a Ibuki player. Third Strike Ibuki is a very different animal from Street Fighter 4 Ibuki. They're very different. So like obviously when we first had Third Strike in Aki, I wanted to give it a try. My first instinct was to try Ibuki, and I was struggling, and I'm like, man, there's no frame advantage. I don't know what to do. I die in one hit. My character can't do anything unless she can do it in four. Like what the hell? How do I stop 10 players from mashing sweep? I don't want to I don't want to do this parry thing. So I used to hate it. And then as time went on and I got better at fighting games, I would like watch Co-op Cup, watch more Third Strike. And those events were always exciting. And then always being at Aki, I started trying the game more. And it took a while for me to come to a character I really fell in love with in Third Strike, but I did eventually get there with Urian.
Mhm.
Yeah, my like I guess my character kind of path was I tried Ibuki when I was a beginner, hated it. Revisited the game years later with Dudley. Had a decent amount of fun, but then I wanted Dudley to be more like a pressure monster, but he's a little bit more like footsies into set play, doing the throws into the dart, short super, etc. Not as much like a frame trap monster like he is in 4. So then I'm like, okay, well, I always liked Makoto in 4, and her game plan in 4 and Third Strike are similar. And I used to not be able to deal with her movement, but after playing KOF and stuff, I could handle the movement. Played Makoto, had a lot of success for a while, but then I kind of felt like I hit a plateau and was really struggling to, because her options, she's like a very one-dimensional character, right? So I think that's where I was like kind of struggling with her. So then I realized that, okay, somebody somewhere has had to have mapped out all this Urian stuff. Because like I always thought that the character was super cool, but I'm like, I ain't got time to like reverse engineer all this stuff that's 25 years old. But it's all mapped out. Like the what has been written down for you to go and obtain that information. So I was able to take that what and just immediately start applying it with like the charge character skills I've learned from other games.
Mhm.
I mean, I played main plus R, so that's not a charge partition per se, but it's like a charge buffer. It's like requires frame perfect charges. I could do that. I played Leona in King of Fighters 13 with her HD cancels. I played Kane and Garo, who does actually have a charge partition. So like Urian was actually I picked it up pretty quick. And then I was like, oh, this is definitely my character. The more I played him, I was like, yeah, this is my guy. This is my guy.
Mhm. But why did you hate Third Strike though? I don't know if you had answered the
I
question
think a
directly,
lot of it
but I was
was
just wondering.
because I didn't appreciate what the game had to offer yet. I
Uh-huh.
only had my I mean, obviously you've seen like the bell curve, like
Yeah.
Twitter meme where it's like you're a beginner and it's like, oh, I'm just hitting buttons, and like in the middle, it's like I'm doing all this perfectly mathematic stuff. And why are you mashing? I'm +2, and then the other side is I'm just hitting buttons, right? And I feel like that was kind of when I was in the
Uh-huh.
well, why are you mashing on +2 kind of phase
Yeah.
of my learning curve. But
Yeah.
as I got better, I started to appreciate the mental game out of it a lot more, the execution requirements, and also a big part of falling in love with the game is the beauty of playing on a cab can't be beaten, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're just sitting there playing on a cab, like nothing beats it.
Yeah. So you were talking about how you were commentating ST for a little bit. Uh, let's talk a little bit about the commentary. What was it like commentating Third Strike? Like again, you were talking about the high level of play and just the atmosphere in the crowd. Like, what were some of some of the moments
So I got to
that stand
commentate one
out?
of the
Yeah.
pools.
Uh huh.
And like, there wasn't anything like super crazy happened in that pool, if I remember correctly, because there was a lot of crazy things that happened
There's
the whole
so many good
weekend. So
matches.
I
There's so
don't
many
want
good
to like
matches.
misremember the
Yeah.
timeline of
And
what
by
happened then, because
and
I could
by
easily
yeah.
mix it up in my brain.
And by the way, head over to Vakabot's Twitch channel for those VODs for
Yeah,
the
all the
Jazzy
VODs are there. I
finale.
think they're even on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, on his YouTube channel. So
There's a
definitely
there's a
check that
voice
out.
clip of me in the trailer, like the Jazzy
Mhm.
Finals trailer. There's a voice. I'm in there. I'm
Yeah.
in the trailer. Um, I mean, I wasn't on commentary for it, but I'm sure the event everyone remembers the most, which I lost my mind. The whole arcade just erupted. Was when Flannel Jack parried and did the Ken taunt as the
Yeah.
punish. He went eat the ducky nah and killed him, and we all
Yeah.
lost our minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest standout moment of the whole event.
Yeah. If you have been playing the game at least maybe 10, 15 years, you have probably seen that happen a
Yeah,
lot. But the fact that it happened at that
top
point,
8. Yeah.
and yeah, it was a really a competitive match.
Hmm.
And kudos to Flannel Jack, because Flannel Jack was down in that set, and he
Oh, it
was
was do
able
or die.
to, yeah, and he was able to come roaring back, and also had a competitive third game, but Lance took it at the end. But yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights of Jazzy finale weekend last year.
Yeah, it
So,
really felt like you everyone knows about moment 37 or whatever, but like you
yeah,
hear like the crowd just kind of erupting and like people are like the camera panes, there's just people everywhere just like cheering. You like obviously can't even see what's going on. That's kind of what it felt like in the arcade. Was this just people were just behind cabs just screaming and clapping, sticking their hands up above cabinets, and
uh,
like from the stage you can't actually even see all the people.
yeah,
Like if you like pull up the stream VOD, it's like I'm actually standing behind the first row of cabs because like
yeah,
it was just so packed in there.
yeah. What were some other things that stood out to you about the Jazzy finale weekend? And kind of what are some things that you'd like to see at this year's finale? Of course, the finale is happening in June, June 21st to 23rd. It's gonna be a great
Yeah.
time. But yeah, like what were
The team tournament was super fun. The
huh?
5v5, what gives like a little bit of like a co-op cup kind of vibe. Um, the Colorado team, our initial instinct was just like, oh, we're gonna get a lot of entrants in the team tournament. It'll be kind of like, chill, laid back, and maybe all the killers won't sign up. But no, every team was just straight killers, and we were the one team of like not killers,
Yeah.
which was the opposite of what we expected. Because we're just like, yeah, everyone would be like, fuck it, let's go in the team tournament. Like, I got
Yeah.
I got 4 friends, let's go. Right. But no, that was not the case. It was like these like optimized teams of like the best Dallas has to offer, the best this region has to offer, the best Chicago has to offer. And it was like, oh my God, we're not ready for this.
But it was a great
It was a great time.
experience
Oh yeah.
getting to team alongside players that you grind with in your scene.
Yeah, there's just
Uh,
something special about like in a team tournament atmosphere where like your homie does something sick that you just like your boys are like standing behind him, you just hype them up, right? You're like, yo, let's go, keep that up, right? There's something
yeah.
very very human about it.
Did you enter the 3v3 the random 3v3 at the end
I
of the
did.
end
I
of the weekend?
did.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, who were my teammates? It was super
Well,
late.
before we go to the 3v3, who were your teammates for the 5v5? Like
So
who
it
was
was
Team
me.
Colorado? Uh-huh.
It was me. We had Travis, aka Digital Buddha. We
Uh-huh.
had Brandon, the owner of Akibar Arcade, Hizabuki.
Uh-huh.
I believe we put him as point man. Then we had Stone Cold Ryan Meyer, and then we had True Tech, who's a Springs player,
Uh-huh.
and then myself.
Nice. Nice. With the Urian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a solid team. You could probably field another Colorado team.
So there originally was supposed to be another Colorado team, but
Okay. Okay.
they pulled out because like too many people's scheduling conflicts happened,
Yeah.
and they were going to enter the team tournament. You probably saw the name since you run the thing. Was they were the We Hate Third Strike team?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was some bunch of Street Fighter 4 players
Nice.
who were like, "Oh, but my footsies are sick, so I'm going to do good," and then they didn't show up. So
Hopefully they come back this year.
yeah, because like
Street Fighter 4 players are welcome.
yeah, and like they would have had a good time. It was all in good fun, right? Like
Yeah.
And like they also would have entered Third Strike singles, right? Like it's not like they would have not played the game. They're just memeing, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, shout outs to Aki and Brandon. The venue's great. But talk to me a little bit more about the the TOs, like the community of organizers that, because I know that there's a bunch of you that all, try to chip in and do your
Wait,
part. And so yeah, just tell me a little bit about, the community at Aki, and just their efforts to try and grow the scene over there, and to, because over the last few years, we started Jazzy, what, like 5 years ago. And so uh Brandon, I told the story a lot of times, but moment I started Jazzy, Brandon was
he
all
was
in
there.
on it. He just thought it was the most amazing idea. And so yeah, like, and then I obviously start uh keeping track of Aki, and what's happening. And you get more and more like out of town interest, to where it's, kind of, again, your regionals are growing. And so yeah,
Mhm.
just tell me a little bit more about like the community of organizers that are working
Yeah.
along
So
side
like
you there.
the Colorado FGC has like a very like long storied history of a lot of ups and a lot of downs
Hmm.
throughout times. And like honestly, Aki is the most stable venue we've ever had since I've been around. Because like we've had many venues like come and go, or a particular venue, like somebody who was involved didn't want us around anymore, or somebody was like trying to screw over a TO or somebody, all kinds of nonsense that we don't need to go into any of it. But when Aki opened, the Colorado FGC like showed up. Like it's like, oh, a bar arcade with Japanese style candy cabs. Like the first week it was open, like anyone who played fighting games in Colorado was at least there for an evening to check it out.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was like the second or third week the place was open. There was it was Ryan and another player who his tag would be, he used to enter tournaments as either Bobby Buttons or Bobby Butthole. His real name is Aaron. They ran an ST tournament on challenge on somebody's phone,
Nice.
and we didn't even have the versus city room yet. And two of our most old schoolest ST players came out of the woodworks for this. Like I don't even think Vincent knew about Aki yet, who's now our most prolific ST player. And it was a old Sagat versus Honda. I think it was like a winners finals match, maybe. But that matchup was terrible. It's awful. It's miserable. Actually, probably like a 9-1, right? Like a real actual 9-1. The Honda player is a dude. His tag is Falling Edge. His name is Andy. He really likes wrestling. He's buff dude. He makes a comeback with a magic pixel against Sagat, and he parades around the arcade and he ripped his shirt off like a wrestler. Brandon thought that was awesome. And there's a Yelp review somewhere that's like, I went to this arcade, it was pretty cool, but some UFC fighter bullied a bunch of nerds. And the date is like lines up with when that tournament was.
Wow.
And we're like, oh, Brandon didn't tell us to leave, so that means we moved in. Because we got real rowdy, like a bunch of nerds crowded around this ST cab drinking way too many beers. We were super rowdy. And Brandon's like, yes, yes. So as time went on, we did the Red Bull Conquest thing at Aki with Street Fighter 5 and Tekken 7. I guess it was early Tekken 7, like what, season 2 Street Fighter 5, I think. But it was like that era. We did our whole Red Bull Conquest Rise Rally weekly, monthly thing there. Aki got big enough to like expand into the second space. And then eventually was able to absorb the consignment store that was next door to make the space even larger, which got debuted actually at Jazzy Finals last year, was the expansion of the Versus City room.
Hmm.
So it's kind of just been up and up for Aki. And from players who've come to visit from out of town, they always are like so like impressed at how big our local events are. It's like, wow, you guys actually get so many people to show up for your offline. I wish we had that. Like I was actually talking to Mothman, who was at Winter Showdown a couple weeks back, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the SoCal locals, we don't get that many bodies." I'm like, what? Really? SoCal used to be like the mecca. Like I remember like SCR being like the tournament to go to, right? Like Wednesday Night Fights, Super Arcade. I used to watch that, like get home from work and watch Wednesday Night Fights. Like that was what I did.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, it's like people that they don't come out, and I understand LA traffic is a whole animal, but a lot of places I guess it's hard to get people out, but we somehow do. People show up to hockey. Even people who don't play the arcade games, they still show up for Street Fighter 6, for Strive, for Tekken, for whatever. Blaze Blue, whatever games we're running. Which has been super nice to see that offline still lives.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about because like you were saying, Mothman had shout outs to Mothman, Necro
Oh yeah,
player
that was super nice,
from
super awesome.
California.
Yeah, his Necro was sick too.
Yeah, last time we hung out, I think was at a Frosty. So shout outs to Mothman. So for the people who are not all that familiar with the Colorado FGC, like what is like the calendar or the signature events? Because like you were saying, the events have just gotten bigger and bigger, and you were saying how stable of a venue hockey is, and so like throughout like the year in the last few years, it would have been like what are the events and when do they happen usually, around what time of year?
Some of the names of some of those events and like who owns them, like at the grand scheme of things, has kind of been in a little bit of flux because some people, retire from TOA and got kids now, you can step away, right? But Winter Showdown has gone for 10 years in a row.
Okay. Great.
And that originally started as a KCO tournament. Kings of Colorado was a KLF tournament. And then they eventually passed the buck on to Francisco Evil Bujo, who was a Soul Calibur guy, and he ran it for a couple of years. And then he has now passed it to the kind of the current group of TOs of CD Mangaka, Excruciation, Havoc Noah, and that crew that runs. And with Steak Fox also down in Springs being involved as well. Like that's kind of the coalition of TOs. We used to have a big tournament that was a fundraiser for the Denver Rescue Mission, but the original person who ran it, he has 2 kids now. He doesn't run it anymore. He passed it off to another individual who unfortunately had to move away from work. So no one's really picked up the reins on that. But that used to be the biggest tournament to come to in Denver. It was called FADC. It was a big canned food drive tournament where basically everyone donated any winnings they got was always donated to Denver Rescue Mission. We would always donate something like a couple hundred turkeys, usually a full truckload or more of canned goods. That historically was always a big one. I guess I don't know what the name / eventual title of it is going to be, but there's a tournament that Ryan would actually used to run called Brews and Battles. But Ryan now lives in Chicago, and they have kind of passed that off to, I guess, like the CD Mangaka Havoc Noah group, from my understanding. But I don't know what it's going to come out as. I think Akazime is going to be what that is going to be. Like the final resting place branded of that tournament, which is usually in the fall.
What a sick name. Shout outs to Ryan or whoever came up with that name. But
so Akazime actually came from during COVID. Brandon, there was the federal money to go to small businesses to help keep the lights on. Because obviously they're an arcade bar. You can't operate during COVID when there's lockdowns, right? Brandon didn't get any federal money. So we actually, as the FGC, so knowing some of the people who are friends of the Colorado FGC or involved with Colorado FGC who are streamers, which would be shout outs to Mini Matt, Ty Tuesday, Ryudo, who kind of combined all their stream viewer bases to do this big super marathon fundraiser stream to help Aki keep the lights on through 2020. And that event was called Akazime, which is why this tournament is going to be called Akazime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to Colorado FGC, yeah.
Yeah, Brandon gave us a home. And when it came time for us to put up to keep the home, we did. We showed up, right? In droves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow.
Which I appreciate that. I imagine Brandon greatly appreciates it as well, right? But we appreciate him. And that's our, it was a nice way for us to give back.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely. No, I never heard that story before. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, because, a lot of places like arcade bar-y type locations, like COVID killed a lot of them, right? Like a lot of them didn't make it.
Yeah.
But we survived.
Well, like I said, Colorado FGC built different in a good way.
We kind of are in some ways. There's the Colorado FGC there's been a lot we've had to figure out over our time, and even before my time.
Yeah. So what other So for people who might be listening to this and wondering, okay, so Jazzy Finale weekend, cool, we can play Third Strike. all weekend and stuff. But what are some other things that you think uh people might be able to do like while they're here, because it's kind of like a whole weekend type experience, and
Like
so
just kind of Denver
yeah.
things.
Yeah, because like
Well, okay, so
the last year was the first time I had ever gone to Denver. I think maybe like a layaway or something, or like a not layaway, but like
yeah,
a
layover, yeah, stuck at
layover.
DIA.
Yeah.
So
So
it'll be
yeah.
June, so it'll actually probably be beautiful.
Uh-huh.
It probably won't be super hot yet, hopefully. And we'll be in Westminster, which is just north of Denver.
Okay.
So you're kind of in the in between spot of like Denver and Boulder.
Hmm.
So if you wanted to go up to Boulder like on like a Thursday and like go hiking like Boulder Canyon or the Flatirons, that's beautiful up there. And then
Hmm.
Boulder, obviously, there's like restaurants and breweries and things all up in Denver. It's a college town, or in Boulder, it's a college town. Um, Obviously, if you really want to go trek into the mountains, you can do that. As far as like, so people always say like they don't think the food in Denver's that good. I'd say the problem with it is it's really spread out, right? A lot of big cities, food is very localized, like in the heart of
Yeah.
the city.
Well,
For us,
thank
it's kind of
yeah.
all over, which
Yeah.
can be frustrating when you come to visit because if you don't have a car, it's kind of hard to get to certain places.
Speaking
But
of speaking of UFC, before I forget this, sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I just need to mention this. But you were talking about UFC earlier,
oh
and
yeah,
so uh, myself and some other Jazzy Tos and some players, we ended up going to. Oh, I already forgot the name of the Italian restaurant. It's not far from Aki, not the Olive Garden, but the other one. It's like a chain Italian
oh
restaurant.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the name or?
I do not remember the name because I
Well,
always just
if anyone in the chat remembers
drive
the
by it.
name, let me
Was it
know.
Spaghetti Factory? Old Spaghetti
No,
Factory?
not the Spaghetti Factory. Carrabba's. Yes, Katie.
Oh, Carrabba's,
And
Carrabba's.
you know who was at
Oh no,
You know who was at Carrabba's that night?
who was that Carrabba's that night?
Boss Rutan.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Huh.
yeah. It was nuts.
How about that? How
Yeah,
about that?
dude still looks like he could probably kill you with his bare hands.
Yeah, just crush you with his biceps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was also going to mention that thankfully they opened a banchan across,
Correct.
just
Yeah, that
not too
box one
far
there.
away from Aki.
Yeah, we had like a
Yeah,
Torchy's that's like a mile the other direction.
yeah,
Um, there used to be this like Philly cheesesteak place on the other side of Wadsworth that
yeah,
was pretty
yeah,
good, but
yeah.
I'm not sure if they're still around.
And
I
of
haven't
course, shout
checked.
outs to Brandon for getting the food truck
Oh yeah.
during the weekend. Not sure if we're gonna do that again, but probably,
Was it?
maybe.
It was El Jefe's, right? The brats and tots.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There used to be this taco truck that we would get as our food truck, but then they
Mhm,
just opened a restaurant, so they're not a food truck anymore. So we
mhm.
can't get the taco truck. I like the
Yeah,
taco truck. Taco
yeah,
truck was legit, man. Those quesadillas hit different after a long tournament, man. Get
yeah,
like a steak quesadilla. Oh,
yeah.
oh, saved my life many times.
When we go to these events, we want to check out the food choices, right?
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Any other recommendations off the top of your head?
I mean, so like if you're willing to go into Denver, you can definitely
Well,
hit
let's
like
start at Westminster. Let's start like in
Westminster. Okay,
yeah. Let's start in
so
Westminster.
there's a Korean barbecue place that you may have heard about on the television. It was featured on that show with Guy Fieri.
Okay.
It's called Daegi.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty good Korean barbecue. Next door to there is a pretty good Japanese place, but I always forget what it's called because I always just look for the Daegi sign and then they're in the same parking lot. Um, those places are pretty good, and I'd say it's like 2-3 miles from Maki. It's not that far. There's a wing joint on Wadsworth called CD's Wings. That's pretty good. They actually just opened a second location down by me, which is pretty sick. That's been like a new work lunch spot for me because it's like really close to my office. Um, Towards the airport, so if you were like going from the airport to Aki, there's a Cuban place called Cuba Cuba that makes a pretty damn good Cubano, in my opinion, and a nice mojito. Definitely, if you're going on your way to or from the airport, we're the stop. And then everything else I'm aware of is way further south because that's where I live. I live south.
Alright. So what about then Denver though? Like going out a little bit more.
Like going into like downtown proper.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff downtown that I haven't even been to because it's changed so much over the last couple of years. There's a place called Rheinhaus that I particularly like. It's a German place. They also give you the big mugs of beer. That place is pretty good. Big fan of that one. Oh, that place is gone. The downtown Chiba Hut was always good when I was in college, but I haven't been there in years. I'm assuming it's the same. I mean, it's Chiba Hut, it's sandwiches. Further south by me, I live just south of K-Town, like the Koreatown area. So, I guess it's like 40 minutes south of Aki. There's a whole bunch of really good Asian food. Surprisingly, like any pho place I've ever been to in Denver has always been pretty good. Like, I don't know, as far as like record for like having pretty good pho, like anywhere I've gone, and like every place I've gone to in the Denver metro area is like, my always like, man, that was surprisingly good.
My pho standards are. I grew up in SoCal.
Oh, so sure, yeah.
I'm always very skeptical when someone says, "Oh, I had the best pho," or "I had a great pho."
I mean, that's why I just say it's it's pretty good, right? It's definitely above average from a lot of places I've been.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely seems like a lot of food choices, options.
It's just really spread out. That's really the downside. Is this far from like suburbia land, right?
And we also got a block this year at the hotel across.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did.
That's sick. Okay.
You can
nice.
go over to start.gg/Jazzy3S. Event passes are available now.
Yeah.
And so definitely sign up. It's going to be $50 for the whole weekend. That includes entry into all the tournaments, including the main tournaments, which are, of course, the singles, last chance qualifier, and the team tournament that you were talking about. Hopefully Team Denver comes back.
Hey, we'll get one on the board this time.
Yeah. And that includes admission into all the side events too, which we will be talking about very shortly. And so, yeah, check it out. Start.gg/Jazzy3S. You can get your event passes now. $50 until the end of May, 60 after. And yeah, check us out. Also, click on that link for the hotel block. It's definitely going to be a good time. And so, yeah, I appreciate you sharing some of your thoughts and your memories of the finale. But I wanted to turn to kind of what's going on now with Aki. So I think all of you started a bi-weekly Fresh Fridays, I think.
Yeah, so there's a bi-weekly that's starting to go on Fridays. Occasionally there's like some people that run tournaments on Sundays. There was like a vote that people did like a long time ago, like what days can you make it to a tournament?
Yeah. So
like the Sundays are for the people that work Friday, Saturday, and the Fridays seem to be for the people that work the 9 to 5s Monday through Friday. So those are going on. There's like an anime game tournament on Wednesdays. On Mondays, it's not a tournament. We just have Third Strike on free play at Aki, and people come and they bring setups. They just play games. There's a thing called South Suburban Esports that runs tournaments periodically for like Tekken, the Street Fighter 6, Smash. Which is down by where I live. And then this Saturday coming up, we have our monthly, our bigger event, like our once a month type event. And that'll be a Third Strike event and all the other main games. And that'll be, I believe, our first Jazzy Circuit points event.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about Colorado Mile High Burst.
Yes, the monthly.
Yeah. So I got the page up here. And so this is the Start GG page for Mile High Burst monthly for April. And as you were saying, Mustaine, Third Strike will be a Jazzy rankings point event. And so, yeah, tell me a little bit about Mile High Burst. I think this is an event that also is one of your more long-running ones at Aki.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like the name of, I guess, what they've decided to name the monthlies. So the Colorado FGC Discord has adopted the Mile High Burst logo. So in the dark ages of 2012, 2013, all the Street Fighter 4 players didn't really come out for a long time. There was a period of time where they weren't really coming out. Street Fighter 4 did have a revival like a year or two later, but during that like 1 to 2 year stretch, the only people that showed up to anything, like unless it was like a big tournament, were the BlazBlue players and the KOF players. So the KCO boys and the Mile High Burst people. And Mile High Burst people, like they kind of adopted that logo as kind of like a local team kind of deal. and then that just kind of became what was adopted for like the Colorado FGC Discord. It became like the logo for the monthly, because during that time period where people weren't really coming out to like your weeklies and your grind sessions and your ran bats or whatever, it was the Kings of Colorado KCO guys play KLF and the Blaze Blue guys playing anime games that really kind of carried the day. Shredder 4 had its revival with Ryan and like Boss Stage and everything, but that was a little bit later in the timeline.
Yeah. And so Colorado Mile High Burst Monthly, April 2024, going down April 6th. I believe that is a Saturday.
Yes. Yeah, that is this Saturday coming up, I believe. Yeah. If I have to look at my calendar, I never know what day it is. Yeah, that is this Saturday coming up.
So currently 4 players signed up.
Just typical Colorado fashion. We all get registered at the last minute.
So I pretty confident this is going to be a points event.
So. Yeah. So on average at our monthlies, I would say Third Strike would get like 16 to 20 people.
Nice.
Tekken would get like 60. Street Fighter 6 will get like 60. Strive will get like 60. Right. Those events, our monthlies usually have a pretty damn good turnout. But people don't usually register until maybe the night before or on site, because it's just like a monthly, right? If it was a bigger event like Winter Showdown, they would pre-register. But this is just a monthly. People tend to wait for the last possible second to sign up.
Yeah. So yeah, to check out Mile High Burst and other Jazzy Circuit ranking events coming up, head over to jazzycircuit.org. I thought maybe we could run down a few more of the events that are going on this weekend, Mustaine, because it is going to be a pretty busy weekend, busy Saturday for Jazzy. And so we already talked about Mile High Burst out in Colorado, but we're also going to have ranking events in South Carolina and Maryland. And so let's go ahead and start and take a look at Retro Rampage. And so Retro Rampage is going to be an event going down in Greensville, South Carolina. Retro Rampage, the Third Strike tournament at Retro Rampage will have a $200 pot bonus. And it will be a ranking event. So that means top 8 will earn points towards qualifying for the Jazzy finale. And so shout outs to, again, the Southeast Third Strike scene for really holding it down this season, really growing their scene, keeping the Third Strike scene alive, keeping competitive Third Strike alive. And so shout outs to all of those guys. And yeah, check it out. Retro Rampage going down in Greensville, South Carolina.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, another event that's going on. You ever been to South Carolina?
I've like visited there. I went to like it was like a NASCAR race down there, I think.
Yeah.
No, I guess that would have been North Carolina because it was in Charlotte. So never mind. I've not been to South Carolina. It was the other Carolina. So no, I've actually not been to South Carolina. Yeah. I went to the other Carolina.
So the next, the third tournament that's going to be going down on Saturday is Bread and Butter 48, which is a Xanadu FGC monthly. And so Third Strike making its return to one of the more famous or notable venues in the DMV. And also, I believe this might be Xanadu's first ever Jazzy ranking event. And so shout outs to the Xanadu crew and everyone out in the DMV Third Strike scene for making this happen and supporting Jazzy. And so Bread and Butter 48 going down Laurel, Maryland. So check that out.
Guys, they be running events like a lot. Like they honestly, like I think they're one of the most stable like locals there is. Like every time I like open social media, it's like, oh, Xanadu monthly, Xanadu weekly. I'm like, man, these guys be holding it down.
Yeah.
I haven't had the privilege to get out there though. I mean, it was hard to travel for me for a while. I have a more flexible PTO schedule now, so maybe I can start getting out to some more far away stuff.
Yeah. But since we have you here, Mustaine, we really should talk about how Third Strike is going to go down out in the finale. And so on day 1, we do a team tournament. Day 2 is the LCQ this year. There's going to be 4 players that can advance to the Sunday Jazzy finale. 2 pools, 2 players coming out of each pool. So curious to see who tries to qualify through LCQ. Last year we had 6 spots. Now we are down to 4. Also, just wanted to go over the rankings. Things are looking to starting to shape up here as we get closer to the end of the regular season. And so at number 1 we have Flannel Jack from the Southeast Third Strike scene, holding it down for North Carolina and a lot of the other states with 2,850 points. But right on his heels is Yogurt Brain from Chicago. There's just, I think, about a 200 plus difference
He was
between
at
first
Winter
and
Showdown.
second. Yeah.
Yogurt Brain. Yeah, he came and took all of our money in Third Strike. He destroyed everybody.
And the Jazzy points.
It was a clinic. Like nobody came close. Like we all died super hard.
Well, Yogurt Brain really about it.
Yeah, that Ibuki is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a thing. He's an artist.
So shout outs to Yogurt Brain, Strong Ibuki, hanging in there with Flannel Jack. Just 200 points. You know, it could be a tournament win away here from getting first place. Then in third, we have Lance, really trying to solidify that third place there. Looks like there should be, no doubt that Lance will qualify again for the Jazzy finale. So shout outs to Lance and all the work he's doing at the DFW. And we have a second Southeast Third Strike player in the top 5. We have Troy Boy. Troy Boy, a part of the Southeast Throwdown crew. Shout outs to SET for holding it down with Jazzy Online. And so good to see Troy in the top 5. I interviewed him, I think, a few months ago on Jazzy Talk. And so definitely check that out on the Jazzy YouTube channel. And then in 5th place is Versaga. For the first few months, I didn't really see Versaga in the mix. But notice that Versaga has found a way to get into the top 5. Of course, Versaga, former Jazzy finalist last season, earning a spot by going into enemy territory and winning the Logan auto qualifier.
Oh, you're right. Okay, that was I remember watching that. Yeah.
And speaking of the Logan Jazzy auto qualifier, that is going to be the next auto qual, the 4th auto qual.
420.
Yep, April 20th at Logan Arcade. And again, last year Versaga came in as the invader, and took it, and so looking forward to seeing who shows up for the Logan Arcade auto qualifier. Again, going down April 20th. Sign up at start.gg/JazzyLogan. Donate to the Matcherino prize pool.
I finally got to go to Logan this year.
Oh yeah, tell me about your experience.
Logan. Ryan, I'm formerly from Colorado, now in Chicago. Ryan, my good friend. I usually go out and always am there for Combo Breaker, but sometimes I'm able to make it to Frosties. So we just went out to Logan the night before Frosties. It was like, all right, let's go. That's a neat little spot, right? I love the animatronic band, all the pinball machines. It's a cool little spot. And they got their little Third Strike cab over with the ST cab next to it. It was super fun.
Yeah.
My only complaint is there was nowhere to put my beer next to the cab. They need a better beer stand.
Okay. We're gonna make sure that we drop that in the comment box for Logan.
Their beer selection was great. I wanted to drink more.
the auto qualifier at Logan last year,
I saw the stream for it. It was nuts. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. That means that atmosphere translated pretty well on stream, and so it's good to hear that you were able to sense just how hype that venue was during that event. I mean, it seemed like every match we were losing our minds. It was nuts.
Yeah, it's always fun when you're like stream, and like even if it's like not the most perfect, like beautiful, wonderful stream setup, but you can just like hear people behind like the commentators getting loud. You're just like, oh, people are hype,
Yeah.
like because like our headphones and microphones things these days, like background sound doesn't come through as much as you like when I was doing the Red Bull Conquest weeklies. I had a handheld microphone and a little mixer that I had to like hold sometimes, right? And like the background noise was awful. By today's standards, if people are loud, like that means there's a lot of energy, not just like a little bit. It means there's a lot for it to really come through on the stream setups.
Yeah, so definitely consider coming out to the Logan Auto Qualifier, April 20th. Shout outs to Mr. Part 2 for taking the lead on this event. Looks to be a good time. Shout outs to all the Auto Qualifier hosts so far. Of course, we started the season at Barcode, and so huge thanks to Rich and Alex and everyone else that came to that event. Arliath for running it and streaming it. Then we went over to TGZ, the Gaming Zone, and the Cactus League. Put on a great show. From what I heard, great experience for people who actually attended the event. They had tacos, Mustang. They had tacos.
Okay, so that was in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
So a friend of mine was in Arizona, like for some other circumstance, and Ryan's like, "Hey, you should just go pop into the Jazzy qualifier." So he did, and he's not like a third strike player, really. Like he like dabbles a little bit, like messing around with a couple of homies on Fightcade.
Yeah.
He likes Under Night, and he likes Dragon Ball, and he's also like a streamer guy. So he just was like, dude, I went there and it was such a blast. I had to play third strike on cab. I don't even know how to play on stick, and I didn't care because it was so awesome. And he's like, they fed me tacos and beer.
That's nice.
Yeah, he had such a good time. Shout out to Ty Tuesday. He not even a third strike player, and he just went to go check it out and was like, oh, Ty. He said the best way to spend the weekend free.
I mean, those are the kind of vibes that TGZ, the Gaming Zone, and Cactus League help create. And yeah, definitely shout outs to all of them. And then we just had our last auto qualifier at Arcade UFO. That event looked great. And it was also finally Big Nasty. Oh, before we talk about Big Nasty, shout outs to Neiman for winning the Cactus League auto qualifier. A monster anywhere he plays, and so definitely good to see him get into that final bracket, and so definitely looking forward to seeing Amir, who also won Barcode. So far, who are the people that qualified? We got Amir, we got Neiman, and then at the last auto qualifier, finally Big Nasty is a Jazzy finalist, having beaten a lot of really tough players at that auto qualifier, Mustaine. I mean, he beat Luke, I think. I'm pretty sure he beat Luke.
I didn't get to see that tournament, and so I did not witness the bloodbath.
Oh, no, I mean, it wasn't like, it was super competitive and super
That's what I mean, the bloodbath, yeah.
But we also have to remember who Big Nasty uses, and that's Hugo. And like just seeing him play those matchups, like he must have the patience of Job, because this is really tough, especially when you're playing a character like Hugo, and then you got all these characters that can just keep you out and zone you out. And
he's not an American player, but we've all seen high out Hugo, right? Like the patience of a god, and that's just. I mean, that's just what you have to have, right? It's impressive watching Hugo players that are on that level work. I mean, it's a different Hugo player, but I got to play a long set with Ruben at Combo Breaker last year. Oh, it was so awesome.
Big Bad Wolf.
Yes, with the Big Bad Wolf.
So yeah, shout out to Arcade UFO for hosting that last auto qualifier. They just moved into a new venue. It was the last day of South by Southwest, and so that was a really sick event. Shout outs to Katie Alpha and DJ Isco. Isco almost took that event, but Big Nasty ended up coming out on top, and so shout outs to Big Nasty. So yeah, like we were saying, so far we have Amir, Neiman, and Big Nasty. That's pretty sick. Pretty
It's
sick
already
finale already.
getting stacked, It's only gonna get
That is pretty nuts.
scarier. It's only
Yeah,
gonna get more bonkers as time goes on.
yeah. And you're gonna add these 5, 6 players. I mean, we also have to look at some of the players that are just on the outside that with like a big tournament win, they could really make some hay and leap
Yeah.
over some of these players, like Yuki. We got Yuki at 950 points. We got Wax right behind Versaga. And so DFW really grinding, really trying to grow their scene, running a lot of tournaments. And
I'm
so,
pretty sure I didn't take a round off Wax when I played casuals with him at the Jazzy finals. I'm pretty sure I didn't take a round.
well, Wax is very strong. Great
Yeah.
showing, this season so far. Going to a lot of tournaments, placing very high, showing all that improvement. And so, yeah, shout out to the DFW scene. So, yeah, we got a lot of, we may have a lot of potential movement in the next few weeks, Mustaine. And so, keep your eyes peeled on that leaderboard. Head over to jazzycircuit.org to keep track of all the action. Check out the links to the ranking events. And if you want to run a ranking event of your own, reach out to us. Check out our organizer's guide, the basics of running a Jazzy ranking event. You gotta run a third strike tournament. It's gotta be 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, winners, grands. And you have to have at least 8 players. So definitely reach out to us, join our Discord. All our links can be found on the Start GG website. And yeah, let us know if you want help growing or starting a third strike scene in your neck of the woods. And so, yeah, definitely check us out, jazzycircuit.org, and check out some of these events. Now let's go ahead and turn to the Jazzy Online. This is something that we started just this season, Mustaine. So I don't know if you've been watching any of it.
I have not been keeping up with the online. With offline being available again, my paying attention to online events has decreased because I personally get a lot more enjoyment watching offline events and participating in that. But online is very important for a lot of people, myself included. It's a great way to practice. I play online all the time. But I always feel like I'm not as in tune with like online tournaments because there's so many to keep up with. It's like impossible.
Yeah. It's so many events.
So many.
And shout outs to Fightcade for making it so easy to play the game, run events for the game. And so Third Strike really is experiencing a big surge here. And so
at Evo, right?
Yeah, it's at Evo. I mean, yeah. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at these Jazzy Online standings. And so we got Nika KO firmly in first place with 2,100 points. There are going to be 15 Jazzy Online events throughout the season. We've already gone through about half of them. We have one coming up this week as well that we're going to talk about. And so Neiman is no longer in second place, nor is Amir, because they've already qualified for the Jazzy finale. And so that means that the true second place is currently Boa, Oro player, also from the Southeast Third Strike scene, with 375 points. And so Nika probably will finish the season in first, but there is still one more spot because the top 2 players from Jazzy Online also advance. And so we have the top 5 from offline and then the top 2 online. And so looking forward to seeing who perhaps grabs that second place. And so
there's a lot of killers in that list right there. I saw Dagger G, I saw Doc Mac, there's Exodus right there, right? That's
this could be a way for
might not mean anything for the depending on how the rest of the tournaments go.
Yeah, this could be a way for the players, for these high level players, former Evo finalist, former Evo champion, EXO, Big Game James, like you said, very strong. Doc Mac just won Max Mode in Third Strike. That was also a Jazzy ranking event. Dagger G. So yeah, maybe one of these other players sneaks into the finale through there. And so, yeah, the next Jazzy Online event, Jazzy Online 10, is going to be hosted for the very first time by Deadlock. Uh, very consistent, a Third Strike streamer, hosting his very first Jazzy Online event. Shout outs to Vankabot for spearheading this effort to branch out to online play because regardless of how you feel about it, uh, this is what it is, right, Mustaine? As far as
Online's a wonderful
how,
tool to
yeah,
get better.
yeah, and so definitely shout outs to Deadlock for agreeing to host this Deadly Jazzy Online Tournament 10. Again, this will be for points. And it will be going down also this Saturday. So much Third Strike this Saturday. You could go to a venue and enter this while you're playing, if they have like a setup or something.
Except don't do it on Wi-Fi. Go get an
Yeah.
Ethernet cable if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I don't think any player
No,
has ever done that in the previous
don't
season, and
do
we
it.
don't have any rules against it.
Somebody's gonna roll into hockey with their laptop and be like, on the Wi-Fi, I'm entering
Yeah.
Jazzy Online Third Strike, and
How
be
sick would
laggy as
that
hell.
be? How sick would
No,
that
because
be?
they'd be laggy as hell, man, on the Wi-Fi. No,
If they're
no.
competing in two simultaneous Third Strike Jazzy
I mean,
tournaments, one
I'd respect
offline, one
the
online.
hustle. I'd respect the hustle, but like, go get an Ethernet cable. Like,
Well, some of these venues might have really good internet. Who knows?
the public Wi-Fi at Aki sometimes has issues. So
Yeah. I wonder who's going to show up to that Xanadu monthly. I wonder who's going to show up to that Xanadu monthly because that is the DMV. They got strong players like Donka, so maybe someone who goes to the Xanadu monthly could do that. I don't know. 7 p.m. Central. So what is that?
double duty.
So Xanadu is out in the East Coast.
Yeah, so it's what, 2 hours ahead?
Yeah.
No, yeah, 1 hour ahead off of Central.
It could be done. I think it could be possible.
I mean, that would be I'd respect that hustle.
Yeah.
That you'd be working hard though.
Yeah.
Trying to like keep up with like your Discord matches, like who's calling it versus like you got to pay attention to the guy with the clipboard who's yelling at you, while also like it'd be a lot to juggle. But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So what we're gonna actually do, this is the first time we're ever gonna do this in Jazzy Talk. We're gonna take like a short break, like maybe like a couple minutes, show the Jazzy info reel, and we'll be back with a special announcement about Jazzy Finale Weekend. So don't go anywhere. Check out the info reel. Click on all these links for the auto qualifier. Do what you need to do, and we'll be back in a bit. What up, everyone? Welcome back to Jazzy Talk. Just wanted to quickly bring in a former guest on Jazzy Talk, Riz1, Super Lore Boys. What up, Riz? Welcome back
Yo,
to the show.
yo, what's going on? Thanks for having me back. Today's episode was actually really fun, just listening to you guys
Yeah.
and how the season is unfolding, and it's really hard to tell who's actually going to qualify in the end, both online and with the offline. So really fun stuff. It's like wrestling when you get your weekly wrestling dosages and like, oh, who's got the belt now? And
Who's
I
gonna get
was
the
like,
title shot? Who's gonna get the money in the
yeah,
bank?
it was just fun listening to that. So I had a good time tuning in, and well, thanks for bringing me back on. What up?
Well, thank you. And so we wanted to officially announce the first community side event. Uh, Before we do that unveiling, Mustaine, we talked earlier on the show that we did have some side events. Last year at the finale, we did ST2v2.
Random draw partners.
Random draw partners. Mao attended the finale.
So we got Mal.
Did not advance in the Third Strike tournament, but for sure won the ST2v2 tournament. And
And honestly, Mal didn't even play in grand finals. He didn't. I think he played like one match the whole tournament. He didn't even have to play. He actually got carried. His teammate did all the work.
Really, is that what happened?
Yeah, like he played like in grand finals. Like I don't even remember who his teammate was, but he destroyed everybody. Mal didn't even have to play.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. It was awesome.
All I know
He's
is
just like, "Yeah."
all I know is Fat Body took Mao hiking or something.
Oh yeah, I mean Mal had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed like he was just having a blast the whole time.
Yeah, which is funny because I saw Mao the weekend before at Mega Man's barbecue.
Okay.
I think that was the week before. It was either the week before or a couple of weeks before. But yeah, we had just met.
No, Combo Breaker was the week before that, I think.
Yeah,
it was like
I think
weeks,
so.
maybe 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had a bunch of side events. We'd like to have more side events. You can actually apply to host a side event at the Jazzy finale. And so tonight I wanted to, officially announce that 2X Super Street Fighter 2 2X, which is also enjoying an anniversary, Riz 30th anniversary of Super Turbo.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we're happy to announce that the first ever or the first side event for this year's Jazzy finale weekend will be ST singles. There's a 64 player cap. It'll be open to both competitors and spectators. And so purchasing either pass will allow you to enter ST. For anyone who has already registered for the Jazzy finale, go ahead and email us. Let us know that you want to get added to ST. I think there is a way to edit your registration on StartGG.
I think so too.
And so you can always add it, I think, on your end. And so, yeah, ST singles at Jazzy finale weekend this year. And so, Riz, you and Mustaine actually got to meet each other not so long ago. Riz, you paid a visit to Akihabara Arcade for the first time. And so, yeah, just tell us a little bit about that experience and, tell us a little bit more about ST at Jazzy this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. So huge announcement. It's also going to be my birthday weekend. I think I mentioned this on the previous Jazzy Talk.
Yes.
So it's like, I definitely anytime I hear any 3S related stuff, Jazzy Talk, Jazzy Finals talk, I'm like, I'm not going to have FOMO this time around. So not only am I like now confirming my attendance, but also, like we're going to be, we're also going to be running 2X. So that's super hype. And today it's going to be a fun time. But anyhow, sorry, I'm fasting right now. I'm waiting for the sunset, so I might have missed a part of your question. My bad. I'm like, oh, all right. If you're going to Denver, like stay hydrated.
The altitude will get you.
Yeah, it's gonna get you. So definitely stay hydrated. Of course, there are many drinks there at the venue.
Yeah, pace yourself. Pacing.
Yes. So let me talk about the venue, right? Like
Mhm.
one of the coolest things about the venue is that the nostalgia feel with the quarter machine. Like you don't get like a card where it's like, oh, load it with $20. Like you actually have dollar bills that you're putting into that machine, and you hear the clink 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 clink, those quarters coming out. That's a feeling that you don't really get in a lot of game centers anymore in the US. So
Yeah.
that was
I
the
have my
first
quarters.
thing.
I
Yeah.
should go get it. Hold on.
But
Yeah, go grab that.
but just to be clear, all the cabs that are part of Jazzy Finale Weekend will be set on free play. Just want to
Oh, well, fair
clear
enough.
that up.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
But sorry. What I was gonna say is, and that's a good point that got brought up. But no, a lot of space there. Um, I saw the stage where there goes your quarter
Yeah.
holder. But there's a stage for the streaming. The cabs are head to head, but they're not exactly head to head. Like they're gonna be there's a good distance between them. They're still technically head to head.
Mhm.
But a really, really cool venue, pays homage to just fighting games of retro gaming in general. There's a lot of little Easter eggs that are in there. So if you have not yet gone, I didn't pay one visit on that trip. I probably went 4 times. I went almost every night, and I'd get back to my hotel like at 2 a.m.
How long were you? So I saw you there on that Monday, which was like our Third Strike free play night / Street Fighter kind of just grind session evening. So how long were you in town for? Was it like that whole week?
It was until Thursday. So I think I
Okay.
got in Sunday, and I stayed until Thursday. I would have stayed longer, but I had to run Genesis here in
Oh.
NorCal Friday. So when I got back, I'm like, all right, we gotta, let's make sure we got the
So
stream set up and whatnot. And
was Vincent able to make it out every night to play with you or not?
yeah, pretty much.
Did?
Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah,
So we hung out. Yeah, we hung out every night. We got a bunch of games of 2X. I obviously played some Third Strike with you guys and the homies, and
Yeah, you beat up some people at CVS too.
Yeah. Yeah, play some CVS2 as well. So yeah, definitely I got to dabble in a bit of fighting games. I understand that they're also like they, rotate them out as well. So there's something for everybody. So just to bring it back to Mutant's point, like, if you want to also host a side event there, like definitely, reach out to the crew, to the Jazzy crew, so that you can have your game represented there. I had a ton of fun just like playing a bunch of games offline, and especially against people I've never played before. Like that's super cool. And Vincent, since you brought him up, like he's one of my dudes. He's one of my heroes. I just met him for the first time going there. Like I knew him from, online, but what a cool dude. And I know what he's trying to do for the scene as well, Akihabara. He said that Third Strike is much bigger than 2X right now, but he'd like to see it grow. And I think this is an opportunity for us to be able to do that. So, I'm all about the lore, and I think this is going to be a very special event, just for retro, classic fighting games in general. Obviously, a huge milestone for Third Strike, right? It's 25th anniversary, 5th season of Jazzy Circuit, but I think just overall for our scene, this is like, it's going to be a huge event. So that FOMO that I mentioned, you guys don't want to have that FOMO, make it out. Make it out, please.
Finals was so sick last year. You messed up. You fucked up if you didn't go last year. Like, can't even say messed up. You fucked up if you didn't go, man. It was so sick.
Yeah. You were talking about lore, Riz. I would love to learn more about the ST scene out in Denver and
So
Colorado.
Vincent's like local ST god, right? Like
he's very strong, actually.
Before,
very good player.
Before we had our Third Strike machine, we had an ST machine, and randomly this dude shows up playing Cammy, bodying everyone. And he's like, "No, I've been like a Fightcade player. I used to play on pad, but now we have this arcade machine here. I guess I have to learn stick now because I would like to play this game in the arcades for realsies." So he's learned stick. He won not this year, but last year he won Frosty Faustings with Cammy. And if you know anything about ST, Cammy is not particularly good in that game. She struggles a lot.
She's in the bottom tier.
She's pretty weak in that game. She's not particularly good. But Vincent, he's a Cammy enthusiast. He's in for the long haul with Cammy. I don't envision him ever playing anyone else. And whenever strong, like occasionally we have some other ST players who are able to make it out, but all of our people who play ST are all 30, 35, 40, older, so they can't, it's hard for them to really get together and play all the time, right?
Yeah.
But when they do get down, they do get down. Those will be some of the people that are closing down the arcade at like 2 or 3 in the morning when Rudy's kicking us out. Like when they actually get to come out and play.
These are the guys that I want to play against.
Yeah, because I was seeing like
the
man,
next trip. So
there's an old school Honda player. His tag is Stick Figure, or his real name's Josh. And I was like, dude, did somebody tell Josh? I didn't. If we had an ST players coming, he could have showed up. But I don't know. He travels a lot for work, so I don't know if he was available or right. Like if you give some people some heads up, we can knock on a couple doors, ring some doorbells, go dust off a couple old coffins to get some people to come out and play ST.
Well, that's Jazzy finale weekend.
Yep,
June 21st to 23rd. Moved it off of Father's Day.
Oh yeah, that'll help for sure.
And so hopefully the ST players can make it out. They have 3 months, so would love to see some local ST talent, Riz. Like you said, all about the lore.
One of the founding fathers of the Colorado FGC actually recently moved back to Colorado. Maybe we can get him to drag his butt out to Jazzy Finals.
Yeah, so the 2X, so the 2X campaign begins. I'm going to be like heavily promoting it now that we're able to get this, officially announced. And like I said, I'm trying to do it. Here goes the graphic, right? Here
I love this graphic. It's such a good graphic.
I'm right with you there, Riz. I'm right with you there.
55 years, y'all. This is the only year we can make a 55 reference, right? You know how I am with the 55. Yo, so we got 25 years of Third Strike, 30 years of 2X. It was meant to be.
Oh, that's where the 55. I'm not good at math, so yeah, okay. That's where the 55 comes from. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's more to it. There's a lot that goes into the 55, but this is the only time we were able to do this. So,
Gibson, dictator of Bisonopolis. Yo, the more I look at this like graphic, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, big ups to Lionplex for the illustration, Azroy for making that vision come alive. I was like, yeah, I want to do a newspaper. I wanted like this and like
chill. I can't even say it, Illuminati, but Chilluminati.
Yeah, come to the finale. Be part of the Chilluminati.
Yeah, chill out with the homies, but. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see you guys there. We got a couple of months, but this is way in advance. So I'm hoping we can get a lot of that 2X talent back. Let's not make it a free tournament for anyone if Mal only needed to play one game. So we got singles going on. And I like the cross pollination between games as well. Like I remember back when we used to do 2 old stuff. Yeah. Mutant, like you were playing that, you were rocking that DJ in 2X. Don't think I forgot.
I might have to enter this year. Hey.
My Cammy could gatekeep, not you.
But you know what, Riz? I don't know.
Excuse me, not Cammy.
I don't know if you co-sign this move, but I think if I am gonna enter 2X at the finale, I really want a main Honda.
Tough character.
I know, but I really like how the character plays. Shout outs to Zagran. They came out to
much love to Zagran.
Yeah, they came out to Brooklyn Arcade like a few months ago, and I was watching them play Honda, and I was like, man, I don't like this character. I think
it was Akazine. Zagran was out here and got their revenge against Vincent in grand finals of ST, and I commentated that set. It was super hype.
Like the use of the 100 hand slap, right? Like that's stuff. That's what intrigues me. Like, obviously I'm a novice in ST, but like for some reason, like it seems like one of the keys to that character is that like that hand slap, like when you do it and stuff like that. And
he's a bit of a polarizing character because he has some really good matchups, but then he's A tier. By the way, he's not B tier. He's A tier. Like he's a strong character, but. You need to have some good execution with the hands, like you said, and then his game plan is kind of linear. But yeah, like he's solid, but you're gonna run into some bad matchups. So you fight someone with a fireball, you better know what you're doing.
I guess I could go back to the DJ or the Oken.
Yeah, DJ's A tier. I mean, DJ's same tier, but significantly better.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see some high level ST at the finale.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Riz. Well, more details about the event are forthcoming. Uh, just just stay tuned. And so yeah, appreciate you, Riz, coming on board and you know uh, having ST. 30 years. I definitely think the game deserves its shine too. I think I've said this so many times in the past, but there would be no Jazzy without TOL. And that's just what it is. And so, I really hope that the ST community, before the year ends, gives flowers to the ones that deserve them, and because your scene has done a lot of really good work. That's been highly influential to a lot of people in the FGC, and it's only right that ST get its just due. So yeah, definitely come out to the finale. We could celebrate Third Strike and ST. We can toast to both in June.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate everyone tuning in to Jazzy Talk. Appreciate you, Riz, for stopping by, especially right now this time of year. Really appreciate that. Mustaine, we're definitely gonna talk more.
Oh yeah,
As
I'm around.
as one of the Aki locals. Thank you again to you and your scene for being so gracious, hosting the finale, and looking forward to seeing all of you in June. So, definitely follow us at the Jazzy Circuit. Check out more information about Jazzy at jazzycircuit.org. And I will see you all next Tuesday. Take care, everyone.